Moving on to item G. Discussion and possible action on ordinance number 422, animals and fowl.
Okay, so some residents have expressed interest in having chickens and bees, and this is the culmination of that request.
Okay, council. Any discussion?
What are the
Concerns?
What are the nuts and bolts of it?
Well, we tried to figure out how to do it simple, but it evolved from there. And so we assigned points to animals, and we have three classes of animals. You got big animals, you got medium animals, and you got little animals. So big animals are cows, medium animals are sheep and goats, little animals are chickens. And depending on how big your lot is how many points you have. And so everybody, you essentially can't have chickens in the R110 zone right now. This ordinance would allow somebody in the R110 to have a couple of chickens, a few chickens, okay? So they get 4 chickens in the R110 zone. Or you could have, well that would be it. You'd have 4 chickens in the R110 zone. Okay. You could have beehive keeping in the R110 zone. You can keep a beehive. You can't keep 15 beehives, you can keep 1. Okay. In the R16 zone, we're even allowing them in that. 6,000 square foot lots, you can have a couple of chickens. If you got in the R110 zone, if your lot's a little bigger than a quarter acre, you get an extra point for each 3,000 square feet. So theoretically, you could have a sheep. You could have 1 sheep and 1 goat. And if your lot was really big in the R110 zone, you could even have a cow. And right now, that's not allowed. So that the points are allotted based upon how big your lot is. Points are designed to mitigate the impact that neighbors may have, or neighbors may feel animals may bring to the neighborhood. But if your lot's big enough, you ought to be able to do more with what you want. So that's what it is. So just to recap, if you got a 1 acre lot, you have 10 points for your first 25,000 square feet of pasture, 1 point for each additional 2,000 square feet up to 5 acres. After you get to 5 acres, we're figuring greenbelt kicks in, and we're not counting, okay? We're going to follow the greenbelt standard, or the standard in the agricultural protection area, which is sound agricultural practice, okay? So you could have 50 cattle on 5 acres, as long as it's within sound agricultural practice. And that's a standard set up under state law. The half acre zone, or the R120, you'd have 8 points for the first 20,000 square feet, and 1 point for each additional 2,000. Then the R15 or RE15, you got 6 points. So you could have a goat and a chicken on a 15,000 square foot lot, or you could have 6 chickens. R110, 4 points, R16, 2 points. Okay? So if you pass this tonight, people that haven't had chickens before will be able to have chickens. Some of those people probably already have chickens, so their chickens will become legal chickens.
But no roosters.
We certified roosters.
I think that there's
the fancy odor or noise, 7 feet.
Does it specify chickens or roosters?
Yeah, I thought that was a really funny statement in 7B.
Yeah, I kind of,
That
So a rooster
says,
violates the
necessary measures to prevent animals from creating obnoxious or offensive odor. How do you prevent the cows from dispelling methane gas and different things?
I like how it was worded originally, you know, it's
So
So it's offensive to you.
So if they have a rooster and it's noisy,
no roosters.
There needs to be no roosters.
I'm kind of thinking no roosters, but we're having a mixed conversation here because some are saying it's in there, some.
I don't see the word rooster in
Rooster's
there.
not in there.
No, there's
Chickens.
Chickens.
well, we have roosters out.
We had no roosters in there originally in this revision. The planning commission kind of took my version and I did go to their meeting and changed it around. So I've kind of seen a lot of it for the first time.
Can we put roosters back in there?
It's up to you. I mean, I got a banning rooster. It crows. It starts crowing at 4 a.m. You can hardly hear it, but my wife hears it. My neighbors hear it. My neighbor's wife loves to hear it. My neighbor's husband doesn't really like it.
So there's 3 people.
So there's 2 people. It's like my kids are old enough to have a problem.
So do we want to,
It's up to you. Roosters would be allowed tentatively if they weren't obnoxious or create offensive odors and noise.
My recommendation is to not allow a rooster.
Either
Well-
that or assign it in.
What zones? I mean, they're already in A1 zone. Your agriculture zone. That's where we got into the issue of how and where do you eliminate the male?
But if but if the rooster is a problem and is crowing, are we gonna be able to enforce that under this ordinance?
Probably not.
That's Chet Fair.
Yes.
I mean, if they had a team of roosters that were in a chorus of crowing, possibly, but one rooster, I don't think we're going to be able to cull one rooster on this ordinance.
Always have chicken. I think it's
so
just easier.
what I'm hearing here is, we can have a rooster, because the way I read it is we cannot have a rooster.
And I read it says you can't, there's nothing that says you can't have a rooster, but if it's noisy, what did we?
I guess not being a farm boy, I hear chickens, a rooster is not a, it's a rooster, not a chicken, it's a rooster. So,
Yeah,
What it would be is-
roosters and hens, all of which are chickens.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
right.
Hens lay eggs, roosters make a lot of
Yeah,
noise. and
chickens
chase
are
people.
allowed. Let's see.
Can we put hens?
see, my problem is if my neighbor has chickens, I don't mind. A rooster, I probably don't mind, but I guarantee you, I'm gonna have my dogs barking constantly. Because they will be wandering around the yard, which is okay, but, and that's probably my personal issue, controlling my own dogs, I guess.
Well, the thing is, I think what if you have like 4 neighbors that have roosters, probably would get pretty obnoxious. I don't know what the chances are.
I don't know. The idea that people have is we want chickens for eggs.
And I agree with that, and I think.
But you never know. I mean, I didn't think I'd walk into Marion Slaterville 7 years ago and have Rod Decker there and have the biggest cockfight in the state of Utah just happened that night.
Dude, it was awesome. You should have been there.
And have
We shut it down, I should say.
And Rod Decker asked me what I'm going to do with 68 chickens that were just confiscated. And they were all roosters.
That's the problem, and we have a lot of those.
I don't know. But we just can't say roosters are banned, because if you're banning them from the A1 zone, everybody's got them in the A1 zone. They're not a problem in the A1 zone. They might be a problem in the R110 and R16 zones. So if you ban roosters, just apply it to those 2 zones.
Yes.
And I'm okay
Can
with
do
that.
that?
And then, yeah,
Okay.
because if you're in that
Say
zone, I'm
that
okay with
roosters
that.
are excluded from those
Just for
two
this
zones.
3 months, maybe table.
Add to
Send it
7B
back to planning commission.
that roosters are prohibited in
Yeah.
R110 and R16.
So I think some people are gonna move into a subdivision too and not expect to hear a goat bleating and things like that. We've sort of written off on dogs and cats, that's part of living in suburbia, but some of the other sounds,
They're
maybe
typically
do.
only going to be allowed on a 3 or 3rd acre lot.